Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is FITRI bin ADILODI and I am from class 5B. Today my group will be presenting about text 1, Bubu Malaysia. We're going to be presenting on how we will translate our text and what techniques that we are going to use to identify and to translate our text with the example given. We will be explaining the core concepts and then we will provide the target text later on.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is TUFAH bin Najat Effendi. I am from class DEC 5B and I am going to explain my part of the translation presentation, which is the literal technique translation. So, literal technique is translating each word separately without looking at how the words are used together in a phrase or sentences. In any other definition, it means taking the words from the source language to another language without ever translating it. So why we chose this technique for for this translation part. So if we can take a look at those two sentences from two different languages, the source language and the target language, we can see that most of the sentences are very much similar, which means that we can easily translate it into another language. Not a lot of complications, and that is why we decided to use the literal technique for this part of the translation. Yeah.
At this part of the slides, we decided that we should use the technique transposition in this text, in this particular line, which is in the source text. It is said, during di bulan Ramadan, tidak sah kalau masjid tidak masak dan menghidangkan bubur lambuk. It is trying to focus on the word tidak sah, which means is a must. Kalau masjid tidak memasak dan menghidangkan bubur lambuk, for us to change, to translate, to reiterate these sentences without making it sound weird or awkward, we decided to use the technique transposition. So, what is transposition? Transposition is a shift from one grammatical category to another while preserving the same meaning. In other words, it is a process of changing word class, word order of a sentence. In this technique, transposition has three major changes that we are able to change uh, to make it more reasonable, to make it more fitting with the text, which is changes of word class, changes of sentence structure, active and passive sentences, and the last one, which is the choices that we made, which is changes of word class slash focus. In the source text, di bulan Ramadan tidak sah kalau masjid tidak memasak dan menghidangkan bubur lambuk. We change it into during Ramadan, serving and cooking bubur lambuk, rice porridge with beef, aromatic spices, and coconut milk is a must in mosque. We decided to focus more on the serving and cooking part of the text instead of the tidak sah, which is a must. Which is a must. This is to make sure the line, the sentence fits with the rest of the text.
Now moving on to the next method, which is modulation. It is a method where translators alter the perspective or point of view which a message is conveyed. It allows translators to adapt expression, make it more idiomatic or culturally appropriate for target audience. Modulation is a way for the translator to find a degree or naturalness in their target text without sacrificing any meaning or accuracy from the original source text. So as you can see here, the source text is bubur bermakna bubur nasi, while the target text it is a rice porridge that retains mostly its shape and have clearly soup base. So in this case, if you use a literal translation, it just means porridge is porridge. But if we modulate it, we can define the meaning of the porridge just like in a sentence. It is a porridge that retains mostly its shape and have clearly soup base.
Hi, my name is NURUL and I'll be explaining for the borrowing technique. Now, borrowing is transfer the source language word to the target language without any formal or semantic modifications. Um, Now the one we use is modification borrowing, because we don't really have a direct spelling one. We had to change it, and the sentence we took for this one, we use this technique on is, cobalah resepi-resepi bubur di dalam buku saya ini. Anda akan menikmatinya seperti saya. And it translates to, try out my porridge recipes in my cookbook. You will enjoy it like I did. And the word we change is the borrowing technique is recipe. We didn't change it much. We only changed a few words and then changing words of it.
Now, moving on to subtraction. So, subtraction means to eliminate or reduce unnecessary repetition to avoid ambiguity. Though it reduces the word or phrase in a text, it does not eliminate or reduce the message. This will make the target language more easier to understand. So as you can see here in the source text here, kita boleh menikmati bubur untuk sarapan, makan tengah hari atau makan malam juga. Ia boleh dimakan bila-bila masa saja. But then, if we translate it by using subtraction, it will only become, we can eat porridge anytime. So, in this case, we eliminate the unnecessary words so that it can be easy to understand in the target text.
Last but not least, the techniques of translation that we will be doing for this text will be addition. So what is addition? Addition is to avoid ambiguity in the target language and to amplify the implicit meaning. So in the source text, it says bubur ikan dan halia. We chose addition because for us to translate it and to fully bring it to English, we were to borrow the word first, the implicit word first, and then we added the context on what is the dish. So we put in the target text, bubur ikan dan halia, in brackets, fish porridge with ginger. That is our conclusion and our techniques that we have done in this text. That will be all. Bye bye.